session. And during one of those sessions, our brother had a stroke right in front of us. Literally right in front of us. We were standing there and getting ready to sing, and he started feeling different. But fortunately, he is here with us tonight. God is amazing. He is a healer and a deliverer. So what we wanted him to do tonight is I wanted to ask him a few questions, because my focus for our teaching tonight is focusing in the storm. Focusing in the storm. So I wanted him to share, and he actually wrote a book. His book is called Win Anyway. Somebody say Win Anyway. So he's going to share a little bit of how he was able to win even through adversity, and how he was able to focus in the storm. So can we all celebrate and receive our friend Shaun Saunders? Come on, clap your hands, everybody. Y'all can have your seats. So Shaun. Yeah. So actually, and a few of Shaun's friends actually met us here tonight. So thank you for coming. For those who came.
What's up,
Shaun? So let's talk.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people keep up with current events on social media. Last week there was a young lady who was very dear to us, very well known in the gospel industry. Her name was Ashley. Ashley, I don't know if you all follow Hezekiah Walker. He had a song called It's So Amazing, Your Love for Me. Well, she had a stroke and died. She and Shaun were the same age. She didn't make it, Shaun sitting here in front of us. So you being here with us is a miracle. We praise God for the miracle that we were able to experience through your presence. Can you talk to us about what your journey has been like over the last couple of years?
Yes. There are a buffet of emotions when you are younger than, the age where strokes are happening. But above all of them, there's one emotion that sits with me every single day, and that's gratitude. I don't care how low I get. I don't care how rough it is, because the rehab for a stroke is different for every single person. And she died and had one stroke. I had two, and both of them were massive. And before I get emotional, I'd like to thank God for you and Trina Hairston, for really saving my life. like no gas, y'all saved my life. And God is so good, because 20 minutes before I had the stroke, I was driving your car, and I was in the car by myself. If the stroke had happened 20 minutes earlier, I could have been dead on the side of the road. But even that, God held back the stroke until I was in the atmosphere where worship and prayer was happening. And I don't want you to get lost in my story. If you're focusing on what you're focusing on, mine was a stroke, but everybody in this room is recovering from something. Everybody has visible disability or an invisible disability. And some you can see and some you can't. And when I look back at my journey and I look back at hers, we are the same age. And last year, I had my second stroke. That one was meant to kill me. You're looking at a miracle, but I want you to know that I'm a mirror. Because if God saved me, then God is going to save you. God is going to save your family. God is going to save your neighborhood. I don't care what you have going on. If you're in this room or if you're watching this, there is something for you to do on this earth, and God's not going to let you breathe your last breath until you do it. And so the emotions are rampant, right? But gratitude sits above them all. And when I saw everyone posting about her, I felt guilty. I felt a little survivor's guilt because there's nothing special about me. So why did you let her die and you allowed me to live? And this is what I want to tell you. God gets glory out of everything. We don't understand that right now because we are emotional, but God gets glory out of everything. And so if he sustained me, then there is something that I have to accomplish. I can't live my life just going with the motions. I have to get up every single day and make an impact where I am. I'm grateful for being here. I'm grateful for y'all's prayers. And this is the thing. They were praying on the one hand, but somebody called the hospital on the other hand. You have to have both. Because if they were praying, I would have been dead on that floor and that would have been it. But I thank God for real friends that will stop everything because they were scheduled to do their production that night. They stopped it all. And I was out of it. I was out of it. I saw Trina. I saw her praying. And this is how you know that you're a real prayer warrior. When you don't have a microphone. When you don't have an audience. When you are just in your room and you are talking to your Father. And that is what I appreciate about y'all so much. So thank you so much.
Wow.
I'm normally quiet.
Wow. So when you came to and you realized what was happening, how did you refocus, or how did you gain focus and not fall into the moment emotionally? Like, why me? Why this happened to me? How did you pull yourself? How did you come to yourself while you were in a hospital bed?
Yeah. Well, the first stroke or the second stroke, because there was a different reaction for both of them. I think that the first stroke, I was just shocked that it was happening. And I think that in my life, God surrounds me when I'm weak with strong people. In the hospital that night, there was a white nurse. I'd never met her. I didn't even have my wallet on me. I didn't have shoes. And she was in the hospital and she looked at me and she saw that I was so scared. I don't live out here. I live in New Jersey. So my mom was not out here and it was in the heat of the pandemic. So everything around me was dying. And so she said to me, she said, you cannot go on if you're scared. She said, do you mind if I say the Lord's Prayer? I was in the ER and she turned that ER into a prayer room. And this is the thing that I want y'all to get. Wherever you are, you can make that your platform for God's glory. She started the Lord's Prayer and everyone in the hospital room started reciting it. All the doctors, all of the patients, and I don't remember how they ended it because when I was out, I was out. And so the first stroke, I remember God having strong people around me because I could not pray for myself. But the second stroke, I was at my daughter's school, and I was picking her up from school. It was a regular day. I was on a conference call. And then I just felt like I was falling. And the principal, the teachers, everybody crowded around me, and they got the ambulance to me. And when I went into the emergency room, my mom was there, and I coded. My mom heard me code, and she said, "Shaun, please don't go." Now you're looking at somebody that a year ago could not walk, could not talk, could not dress himself, could not type, could not do my own shoes, and I'm standing before you right now telling you that God is a miracle worker. And so thank you so much. Once I got out of ICU, I was able to refocus. And this is what I want to say about refocusing. When you compare your now to how you used to be, because I could not be who I am now if I compared myself to who I was a year ago or 2 years ago. And I know that many people don't have strokes in here, but everybody has a season where you're looking much better than you look right now, or you are smarter than you think you are right now, or whatever you are, that you don't have value today. And I want you to know that there is stock in your experiences, that there is stock in your revelations, that there is so much in you right now because you are fit for this time, and God is going to help you with the recovery. And I'm a witness.
Hallelujah. So this is necessary for us, because when we talk about refocusing, a lot of times we talk from a place of, after it happened, or we say why it's necessary. But with Shaun, we see a living testimony of someone who had to be focused in spite of what was happening in his own body. What would you say now, after you've experienced all of this? I know you're going to win anyway. Everybody, I encourage everybody to buy this book. Buy this book, because this is a true testimony. What would you say now to the Shaun before this?
I would say two things to the Shaun before this. I would say, stop editing so much and turn it in. Because some of us are in our heads so long that we don't move forward. And as a teacher, as a professor, I've seen an A student get an F because they missed the deadline. And I don't want you to miss another deadline in your life. And then I would say to myself, keep reading. Don't stop at the middle chapter. Because if I had stopped at my middle chapter, I would not have this interview. I would not have this experience. I would not have this revelation. I would not have this gratitude. And my daughter would not have a father. Because the stroke wasn't the debilitating thing. It was the depression that lingered in my house when everybody wasn't there. It was, God, am I going to have to shut down my businesses because I can't even write for myself, much less help somebody else? I can't even talk without a stutter. And I know that, God, you've put a brain in me so that I can help people. like y'all. And so the enemy attacks you where you are most lethal. In my life, I didn't have a heart attack. I had a stroke. I had 2 strokes because my brain is to work for the kingdom. And so wherever your attack is, look at that attack and say thank you, because you are telling me right now this is what I need to focus on. Because the enemy doesn't attack who's not troubling up the waters. And so now I would say, don't edit another thing. Just push it out. And then I would say, keep reading. Don't stop at this chapter. Just keep going.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't know whether it's age or what, but for me, it's hard for me to remember what I said 10 minutes ago. This man has been through 2 strokes, and yet he's able to have a full conversation with all of his faculties, with wisdom. And I want y'all to know this. We didn't talk through our questions. We're just talking. That's powerful in itself. And we're gonna stop after this because we're gonna wind up shouting or something. You mentioned something that I think that many of us need to grasp. You said you were in the house by yourself. I know, me knowing you, you've served a lot of people in the kingdom, in church. And then when you were really in need, you wound up being lonely. How did you keep yourself from a state of bitterness? Because many of us wound up being so bitter that it hinders our healing. So how did you keep yourself from being bitter during that season?
Well, I was bitter, but you have to go through the process. I was angry. I was depressed. I was alone, but not really alone, right? And I had to go through those experiences. I had to feel those feelings. But this is the thing. David felt those feelings. If you go through Psalms, you see a man that prays to God, and he is not politically correct. And I know that God is not intimidated by my heart. And so I had to lean into those feelings so that God could wipe them out of my heart. And then I had to worship. I had to worship when I didn't have a voice. I had to worship when I did not know. I had 20 medicine bottles, and I had to take 20. I have one medicine now that I take from 20 to 1. From 20 to 1 in 1 year. From 20 to 1. From 20 to 1.
My God.
From 20 to 1. And I am trying to be nice, but there is a praise on the inside of me because I just had a flashback of all those pills that I wiped out of my house because I don't need them anymore. And I prophesy right now to somebody that what you are going through, there's going to come a season where you won't even remember the pain that you are in right now, because God is going to heal you from inside out. If you stay focused, if you stay faithful, and if you stay in worship, that will be the medicine you need to get through every season.
Can we give God praise for Shaun Saunders? Let's all support him tonight and buy his book.